I recently heard about this allegory Plato came up with. In it, there's a group of prisoners who have been chained in a cave since birth. The bindings are attached firmly to a wall constructed in the middle of the cave, and it forces their gaze in a singular direction. The only thing they've ever seen in their lives is this cave's back wall. Behind the prisoners, obscured by the heights of the facade they're chained to, is a lantern that's hung from the ceiling. On the back wall of the cave, the prisoners watch effigies dance and move. They lack a necessary comprehension about who or what these figures are. Unknown to them, statues and sculptures have been placed on top of the facade they're chained to, so they watch the shadows dance and flicker in front of them. For the prisoners, this is all they've ever known. They don't know the figures animated in front of them are actually shadows, as if for them there would be a definition or understanding of the word anyway. This is Shadows on the Wall. In the version told by Plato, one of the prisoners is actually set free. He ventures outside the cave, and naturally the sunlight is blinding to him. His eyes adjust, and for the first time in his life, he sees what the world is truly like. He takes it all in, and he rushes back into the cave. He gleefully approaches his former cellmates. Guys, I've seen it. I've seen the real world. It's nothing like what we've known. The prisoners refute him. They say he lies and he's gone mad. And they turn on him. Plato describes the allegory as a means to display the struggle a philosophical life entails, and as well as an observation of the deficiencies that would cripple a society led by the non-philosophical and non-intellectual. For me, Shadows on the Wall represents a concept I worry about a lot nowadays, something I've seen referred to as the blindness, the inability to think beyond what your eyes can observe. And perhaps even worse, it represents a mind without the capacity to push back on how it perceives reality. So how does sorcery fit in this? Well, I've discussed some of the game's strengths in a video months back, highlighting the negligence in some other developers with regard to the nurturing of imagination in players. I am a self-admitted cynic when it comes to many modern games, so I have a deep appreciation for the vision Eric Curiosa has for sorcery. I've fawned over the practices before, but things like how a particular word is used on a card, the presentation of the product, and most importantly for me, the dedication to storytelling being more than just a sentimental gimmick. It's a pillar of the game's identity, really. It's so foundational, even the mechanical process of playing cards in the game creates a storyline. I think that's pretty cool. It leads me towards the questions surrounding lore in this game. I've seen some exploratory progress, but it wasn't until I finished writing the first version of this script that I realized I was approaching it incorrectly. What is the lore in sorcery? Might be the biggest question mark alongside what's the next set going to be. Sorcery doesn't have any accompanying books or TV series to fill in the narrative gaps, so I guess someone with mania and time to spare could take their best crack at it. With that in mind, the moon has been obliterating me the past couple months, so I've had mania and time to spare. Thanks, Moon. By Eric's own admission, he'd like for the storytelling to remain in the hands of players, so say sayonara to the "what is the lore" question. It's really up to us. You shouldn't be surprised to know, much like other facets of this game, it's intently designed this way. Sorcery's charm, the old school feel. It's an energy that few might have the vocabulary to express, myself included, but we still know what it is, and I think it likely manifests from the imagination. I must stress, though, my conjecture here in this video is not a definitive statement on how you should interpret the story of the game. In fact, the story isn't even finished, and this video will likely answer almost no questions and present 100 more, so apologies in advance. But I think whoever is in charge of the narrative at Eric's Curiosa has established some story beats pretty elegantly and deliberately. By design, there does seem to be tent poles set up to help guide our imagination along. So let's look at some cards. This Cloud City promo by Elvira provided the first tiny eureka moment. It's the very same Cloud City depicted on the non-promo version. It's just oriented differently. Elvira's assignment from Eric confirms this as well. What other details could be gleaned from the art in this game? Most, if not all, discernment will lead to guesses rather than verifiable truths, but it is more fun this way though. We get to exercise the creative muscles and get ideas swirling and theorize about events that have unfolded or even possibly predict what's to come for future sets. So here's my first conjecture. The Cloud City levitated into the sky as an emergency reaction to the events that caused the great drowning of men. Wrath of the Sea offers a glimpse of imminent casualties to this deluge as well. It's possible that without a high-res image or great set of eyes, you may have missed the aqueous peepers and honed teeth at the crest of this great wave. The gargantuan that created this havoc is also present. Compare on both paintings the half-timbered architecture. It's a technique that dates back to the Middle Ages. How about this one? Ascalon Phoenix, Abundance, and Jihad Crusade are actually all connected. I'll leave history lessons for the professionals and try to shave this down to the most pertinent details as they relate to the cards. While spelled differently, Ascalon is a historically significant location in modern-day Israel. During the Crusades, Ascalon served as a Fatimid fortress, which was used to launch raids into Crusader Kingdom's territories. Notably, if you haven't seen the Steppe Curio by Truett Parrish, the original artwork which Crusade and Jihad were born from, this is likely one of the battles between Crusader and Fatimid forces. Furthermore, it's my interpretation that Abundance, done by Vincent Pompetti, depicts Ascalon as it was in a time of peace. Described as a metropolis with a thriving hub for commerce, Abundance is pretty fitting for what this city may have been in trade and resources. I like the idea enough to put my stamp on it. Only recently, I noticed the fledgling red phoenix in this painting. I'm pretty confident that Ascalon Phoenix is the very same we see in Abundance. Noteworthy as well is that this majestic phoenix displays black feathers on its wings, a symbol of profound transformation, which usually signifies the beginning stages of death that precede the eventual resurrection. Given its namesake, this beautiful creature was likely enmeshed in the clash of faiths. These are few of but many references to sorcery's lore as we know it. One important caveat to understand is that the mystery for this game is rooted in esotericism and mysticism of our own world. I've noticed the characters and places and things that make it onto cards for sorcery are in one of two groups: documented and verifiable truths, or the esoteric and mythologically adjacent. For example, the Magellan Globe, Grigori Rasputin, Candlemas, Vesuvius, the aforementioned Ascalon, all unassailable truths. Then on the other end you have cards like Mother Nature, the roots of Yggdrasil, Sphinxes and Manticores, occult ritual, Atlantis. These places and things exist in the world of make-believe, I think. Still, I've got some questions I hope I can answer someday. For example, what caused Unland to fracture like that? Because clearly some shit went down. Since King of the Realm is an Earth card, is he from Midland, or does he oversee all the regions? Furthermore, why is there no royalty or lordship portrayed for Fireland? We see Lord of Unland, Queen of Midland, Highland Princess, but no Lord, ruler, royalty, or otherwise for specifically Fireland. Do we observe the vestiges of dragons, or are they still prevalent? What's the deal with Captain Baldassare, and is the pirate ship his vessel? What was the Doomsday Prophet prognosticating? Sorcery is so much more than just mythos tied to game mechanics, and it is not just a melting pot of religious mystique. If at the very least it is just cool game narrative, then so be it. Remember, this is just my interpretation. But if you follow along and go on a journey with me, I promise the stories you tell in your sorcery games from here on out will be What is this? A unique magic mourns a long-lost past. For each layer of ruin excavated, another calamity of yore was revealed. So much more is happening than I could have imagined in this game. Kudos to Brian Smith, because I get the feeling I shouldn't even know of this thing's existence. Do you feel the same unease looking at this as I do? Perhaps some triskaidekaphobia you were unaware of. Star seeds of ore. Well, I know what a star seed is, and I don't think it's those TikTok freaks. Ironically, I do believe in the concept, I just don't agree with the methodology. Conceptually, a starseed, though, is an individual that is a reincarnated soul from another star system, planet, or dimension. Do with that what you will, but scaling things down to an individual level in regard to this thing just doesn't feel right to me. Maybe the name is more literal, in that these spheres are the starseeds. If that's the case, then who is Ore? At this point, my head was buzzing and I had zero aim, so I reached out to Brian Smith to see if he could disclose the prompt he received from Eric for this assignment. It might be useful in determining what Eric is building. Many an artist I've seen have proclaimed Eric is a superlative art director. It turns out he's also extremely skilled in not exposing his intent for where a character or card will land narratively within Sorcery. Here's what Brian had to say. Hi, Charlie. I'm learning too that there is definitely a great deal of mystery behind Eric's vision for Sorcery, so I'd be curious to know more about it myself. Star Seeds was an existing painting from 2022, so no prompt for that one. As far as my own thoughts, that piece started out as a simple portrait, and I don't remember what I was trying to paint, but whatever it was, it didn't work. So it became a chance to experiment. It shifted from a human face to one that I actively tried to make very non-human and unfamiliar. To me, it looks like some kind of cosmic giant. It appears to be quizzically looking at the viewer, maybe trying to make sense of us as we are of it. After seeing the sorcery card name, I thought the figure as maybe being something that can generate those star seeds from within its mind, a giant star machine. Missing the forest for the trees, I suppose. I was so focused on piecing together the visible that I wasn't prepared to think about the blindness. Certain spheres may be an allegory for worlds, planets, or some form of celestial body. A limitation, it seems, of what we as humans can conceive in the realm of possibility. For those that are orders of magnitude greater than mere man, I'd wager there's something different. These worlds never made it. This cosmic colossus that could manifest and gestate these starseeds, as Brian described, has perished. Another calamity of yore was revealed. In fact, Ore is not who this is at all. Ore is translated as a timekeeping device. Think a clock or watch. These would-be starseeds are inoperative components of a mechanism to keep time. A unique magic mourns a long-lost past. Let's ponder on something a moment. This is a heliocentric orrery. It's a model of our solar system. It's heliocentric because the star, our sun, is placed in the center, and all other objects in that system are relative to it in their position and motions in orbit. Now, close your eyes for a sec. You're on a space vessel, and you're now entering a new galaxy or star system, and you have been tasked with mapping out what you see. You might find it challenging to imagine a star system that doesn't immediately resemble our very own. A sun in the middle with celestial bodies orbiting its tremendous mass. This movie, The Dark Crystal, has an orrery of a different kind. It lacks a star in the center. So what would an orrery like this...
What's it for? Is that what you want to know? You want to know what this is all about? Is that it, Gelfling? You don't know? You never looked at the heavens. Everything in the heavens is here, moving as the heavens move. This is how to know when. That's what. Suns, moons, stars. Yes, the angle of eternity. That's how I know it's coming. How else can I make the prediction?
Yes, Agra, indeed. When? Can you imagine what an orrery would look like to a god? Trillions of systems with individual components rotating, reorienting in 3D space. Billions of those individual components all lining up intermittently at random in millions of different ways. Where has almost no meaning to that level of divinity. Only when makes sense. The occupants of the observatory seek the right answers, I think. An elite sight of destinies deciphered is such a fantastic typeline. Navigation of this scale leads me to believe a deity would need a special tool not to understand, but rather calculate. What? Would you really expect a creator or superintelligence to be the gambling type? The Antikythera mechanism, the real-life counterpart to what we know from within sorcery, was in fact a hand-powered orrery. In the year 1901, it was recovered from a Roman-era shipwreck near the eponymous island in Greece. It is considered the first known example of an analog computer. The sophistication in this device is close to inconceivable for the time it was manufactured in. Its construction consisted of interlocking bronze gears, over 30 of them, all tiny and hand-cut. It could predict lunar and solar eclipses and celestial movements decades in advance, and researchers also discovered there's a user's manual inscribed on it. A device with this complexity would not be found for over a millennium after this was believed to have been made. Thank you to Jack, who authors the Ruby Core-ier, for putting this on my radar. I didn't even know of its existence. It's worth noting the Kythera mechanism for within sorcery is actually displayed upside down. Here's the original painting by Séverine Pinault. Compositional weight may be the reason, but I'm not so sure. I wonder if the reins of the Kythera mechanism are in the wrong hands, or if it is in a place it shouldn't be, waiting to be found. Burning in my mind since I started researching a couple weeks ago has been the card Atlas Wanderers. The art probably resonates more after listening to my hysteria, I hope. I had to reach out to Brian again to get his insight. I originally submitted Atlas Wanderers without the figures. I don't remember what Eric requested for that one, but I tried to paint another cosmic colossus drifting across the universe, approaching a new planet and looking it over. It was Eric's idea to include the figures with the spheres. That made the painting 10 times better and more interesting. I like the idea that maybe the giant figure is summoning the smaller giants to arrange them. Thought maybe they were bringing it those spheres for some kind of inspection. Arranging these worlds is indeed a provocative notion. The proverbial conveyor belt is marching the spheres towards whatever it is in the background. What do you make of the entire piece? I observe something possibly ominous. This entity has a membrane replete with colors. It's no coincidence the spheres we see, the ones that represent worlds at least, share a palette with the membrane: red, blue, yellow. The empty sockets on its face may be used to dissolve the spheres into its membrane. However, Sorcery's matrimony of card effects and art can't be ignored, and I'm all for that. Brian could be onto something with the entity inspecting these objects instead. Perhaps what we're seeing is rather a replenishment of the spheres with whatever cosmic goop is jiggling around up there, followed by rearrangement on a cosmic scale. I think we might need to see some future events unfold before we can really determine its motives. Something stands out to me more than the art for this card, however. The name, Atlas Wanderers. It doesn't seem to be just a charming homage to Eric's previous endeavor, Path of Exile, where he served as creative director for quite some time before venturing into the TCG space. Ritanis Titan and Tabula Rasa are pretty special mentions for the initiated. As you approach later stages of the campaign in Path of Exile, you're introduced to the Atlas device. It's an exceptionally strange development for a journey that has had the player dealing with undead and mutated creatures and corrupted humanoids. There's a plethora of lore for this device, but I gotta condense it a fair bit. What is most important is that in Path of Exile, players find objects called maps. They're slotted into a receptacle on the Atlas device, and a portal to the unknown is opened for the player to traverse. As it seems right now, there isn't a physical contraption exactly analogous to the Atlas device in-universe within Sorcery, but an avatar would not need this. The word avatar goes beyond cool video game nomenclature and is defined as descent in Sanskrit. It signifies a deity taking form in the material realm. How else could it be contested if not in the flesh? Remember, on each player's first turn in Sorcery, they have to establish their avatar's connection to the realm, and this is done by playing a site.
Well, like with all lore in Sorcery, it's meant to be up to the player more, but I see them as kind of primordial, powerful, maybe even intergalactical beings that can create matter, and I don't have any more exact.
So here's a hypothesis, somewhat confirmed by Eric very recently at SorceryCon 2026. The Atlas deck is our Atlas device. Avatars can shape sites within their minds as a means of creation. We, in turn, shape the sites within the deck to hone our strategy. I think the events of Gothic, which are what I would consider to be the foreground narrative, and the events in the background discussed thus far are unfurling in tandem. There are events happening cosmically within Sorcery we're not privy to just yet. What we can assume to know confidently is that evil has commenced the first mass assault on the realm of mortals. A celestial tragedy has occurred, and a battle for the soul and sanity of man has begun. As a brief final thought, it would seem that becoming an avatar is not strictly reserved for those looking to descend down a one-way street. It raises the question, who amongst the roster of avatars is benevolent? In the fray of events unfolding, are there any we can point to as allies? Have any others ascended above the station of mortal man? I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I can't wait to explore them with you all. As we close out the video, I just wanted to extend a very, very heartfelt thank you to those who clicked on the video, decided to watch it all the way through. It's roughly 30 minutes, probably, after all is said and done, and I know that that's a valuable amount of time. So thank you again. I really want to respect what I think is Eric's Curios's vision for the game, which is agency within the player's hands, and to not really rail someone in a narrative direction and simply just tell everyone what's happening, and to explain a story from start to finish with no ambiguity whatsoever. I think that's just a sign of weak storytelling, and Sorcery could not be more opposite than that. It's doing everything right in my eyes. With that being said, think of this video as the overture in the theater atrium before the play begins. I think it's important to set up some of the background stuff I've noticed that will likely inevitably come to fruition as time goes on in Sorcery's universe. In conjunction with that, there is a ton of stuff to explore within Gothic, and I think we actually have an inkling of where we're headed next for the next set. So that'll be really fun to explore and theorize and guess on. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks again. See you later. Oh hey, you stuck around. I guess one more thing wouldn't hurt. Remember how I was making a big stink about the difference between when and where? There's one specific type of alignment I think we're all pretty familiar with. And beyond that, there's a certain someone that cares very, very deeply about when. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.